We have 6. So I'm going to call you 2 at a time. Would you come up to these podiums on our left and our right? No particular side, just whatever you can get to. Carl Muhammad, would you go to one? And Suzanne Skidmore, would you go to the other, please? If Ms. Skidmore's not here, the next one would be Siobhan Banks. Go ahead, Mr. Muhammad. State your name for the record, please.
Carl Muhammad. You know, as we continue to focus on the idea of the miseducation of the Negro, and I do appreciate the idea of what my sister just did as she gave us a chronological look at the activity, but I believe it's important that those inside of Palm Beach County take on the challenge of really trying to look at what has happened here in Palm Beach County chronologically, because I know that many of you just got aboard on in this effort as it relates to trying to help African-American children. And much of the knowledge that was espoused a little early on in this development, many of you need that kind of quantitative knowledge in order for you to better understand what Palm Beach County have done. And when you look at the Palm Beach County black community here, we've worked very feverishly. I think we did more work than anybody else in the state of Florida, but yet and still, we're still not being acknowledged at that. And I think if we did a chronological look at all of the activity, because we know as a community, we brought you the Achievement Matters for All. We brought you the Florida Statute 1003.428. We had the Superintendent Task Force for African-American children, and it really has been driven by our community. And I really want to thank Dr. Robinson. I really want to thank you tonight, because I know that you've been around since we started on this journey, you and myself. I think we've got the only 2 individuals that have a track record of being involved from the very beginning up until this point. And I'm also looking at the idea of the state task force that is operating inside of the state of Florida, and we haven't had a real relationship with that organization or that situation as we need it. And I'm finding as I travel through my community that many people don't know who Carter G. Woodson is. And if you ask them, and if you try it yourself, you'll find that we don't know who Carter is, and we don't know why he invented Black History Day and why he took it to Black History Week, and we moved it to Black History Month, and now we're asking for 365. But as we continue to try to have some equitable approaches to our educational needs, we're asking you, from the community, we're challenging you to give us a chronological look at what the activities that you are doing so that we'll know how it coincides with what we're doing inside of our community, because we do believe that Palm Beach County have had the reputation of being exemplary, but I don't hear us in recent time having any real genuine conversation, and I know that it's absolutely necessary if we're going to continue to be the champions that we profess that we want to be. And when we first started on this journey, we said that if we did take on this challenge, we could possibly be some of the greatest individuals in the world of academia if we would only just take the challenge. And you know, all of us know the real challenge, and we understand the challenges that are going to come after us. But that's the reason why I say if we take a chronological look at what has happened in Palm Beach County, it should give us what we need. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Muhammad.
Happy Black History Month.
Mrs. Banks.
Well, good evening, everyone. Board members, my name is Siobhan Banks, the mother of a student who was a victim to bullying and racial intimidation within the school district. There are several matters that I briefly want to touch on. First, I would like to preference my comments by adding that I have been guided by and are in contact with Lowell Levine from the Stop Bullying Now Foundation. My son, who attended an elementary school in Loxahatchee, was victimized by a bully. Previous reports of concerns was made last year to administrative staff regarding the actions of racial intimidation and acts of aggression towards my son. These concerns led to no action being taken to ensure my child's safety. On February 4th, 2020, my son was victimized by being placed in a chokehold from behind by the same bully in which cut off his air supply that led to him losing consciousness. The administrative staff, including the nurse, failed to contact me, dismissing my child after school to walk home with respiratory difficulties. I was informed by the treating physician that had he lost air supply for 10 seconds more, he could have died. The school inability to protect my son raises a high level of ineptitude on their part. I desire everyone, from the principal to school police, to be held accountable for what happened to my son. Lastly, I would like to conclude by recommending there be some type of sensitivity awareness, training on the topics of racism, racial intimidation, and bullying. One way to start the process and progress is to send out newsletters and emails to parents and guardians of all students regarding this vital issue so that it can become an important topic of focus. I believe having a town meeting on these issues and invite and urge parental participation to discuss these concerns will start and open up dialogue to bring about understanding and positive change. Finally, I propose that the school district implement in their curriculum a course of African American studies to begin starting from the 1st grade to the 12th grade to further educate staff and students on the importance of social and cultural equality. And this I say to you, board members, wouldn't it be great if we could look forward to a whole world in which no child will be left behind? Colin Powell, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Banks. Dr. Joseph Lee will be speaking with you in reference to your concerns, and we'll move it forward. Thank you so much.
Trinity San Pedro, Carlos Alice. State your name for the record because I probably slaughtered it, so.
Yes. Want me to talk?
Yes.
All right.
Your name?
My name is Carlos Alas. I guess this is a good month to talk about this. I want to tell you my story. About a month ago, on January 15th, I'm a coach and I'm a teacher. I went with my team to Omni Middle School, and at the entrance, my students went in front of me, and I was taking the equipment. When the students went in, one of the administrators asked my students, "How did you get in? Did you jump the fence?" Then, when I went inside the school, I went to say hello to the referees. And the referee said to me, "Hello, nice to meet you. What's your name? Hector?" I looked at him. I didn't say a word. The other ref said to me, "I'm sorry." And he looked at him and said, he understood. After that, I looked at the ref and I said, "You got to be careful how you speak to people these days." And he looked at me and said, in a very strong voice, "I'm a professional." From there on, I told my son, the game is over. They gave 2 red cards to my boys. They accused my boys of cursing in Spanish. There were 2 white refs. One of them, the head ref. He's the head ref of the school board. All right? And I sent the letter to the assistant superintendent, but no response. And you are unreachable, So, yeah, you're untouchable. So, in the end, I just want to read my last part of my letter, and if you're interested in it, let me know. This is what it says. "Unfortunately, we still live in a society in which minorities are treated as second-class citizens and treated unfairly, and our schools are supposed to be a place of refuge for them, where they can find support. Today, however, we learn that even in our safe schools, if you look a certain way, speak a certain language, or have a foreign-sounding name, like mine, things will not go in your favor. Hopefully, this letter reaches the necessary district personnel who will investigate this referee and his actions. This is not about our team losing the game, guys. This is not about that. It's beyond that. And you know that very well. And by the way, in our schools, we receive 4 portables, and all the furniture is all in break. It's not good. I saw some pictures from Boca, from one of those schools. Brand new furniture, brother. So we have a lot of work to do here. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mr. Alas, Ms. Sheffield will speak to you. If you get that information to her, we will get on this right away.
Okay. No problem.
Joanna Castillo? Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Joanna Castillo. I am a SAC member in elementary school, Meadow Park, and also at Coniston Middle. And I'm so glad that I actually follow up these 2 parents and concerned citizens because I'm here as well as a parent and concerned citizen right now. Following up 2 years after Parkland, we heard in the news that there were going to be, changes implemented in schools to be safer. And I have seen, of course, all the monies delegated for like safety, cameras, personnel, and all that as well. I am here to ask about what about mental health. And the reason I'm doing this is because I go to all the SAC meetings of both of our schools, and I've been informed that a lot of these sensitive issues as racism, bullying, human trafficking, and more that I believe we should be having these conversations daily in the community are being supposed to left to either a computer program in level high school or either to the level of 2 guidance counselors for the whole entire school, or the same teachers who are already very busy and many times overworked. So my concern as a parent is like, what about the funds that were delegated for mental health? What about the community partners that I know that work really well and actually have professionals in the field that really know how to approach these sensitive issues? I don't think teachers are really prepared to do follow-up in mental health. And I believe this is an issue that we should tackle as a community. I believe that it's very sensitive, as you can see, and racism is a huge one. I see it every day. I have been asking the students, like, how do you feel? Do you feel safer? Do you feel? And they do want to know more about these sensitive issues. So my being here is just an echo of many other voices. I've been talking to other parents in both of my schools, as well as people in our community. And all of us are concerned because as much as, we see, you guys are trying, it's been 2 years after Parkland, and I don't see any real improvements. And I've been asking the students in middle school and high school, like, how are you guys...
To return to the meeting, press pound. To become the moderator, press 1.
How are you guys addressing these sensitive issues in your classroom? And many times they're not being addressed properly. So I hope we have some answers. Otherwise, I guess I will have to come back every meeting because this is something very close to my heart. I do care a lot for the children in our community, and I see that violence is something that is affecting all of them. Remember, mental health is something that can go across the spectrum. It could happen in Boca, it could happen in Pahokee, it could happen in Lakewood, it could happen in any of the districts. So what about having a district that really does something and have input from the parents? Like, that will be something that I will really appreciate. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Trinity San Pedro? Okay, that takes us to the end of the agenda. We need a
No
motion.
input has been detected.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Shaw, seconded by Mrs. Andrews. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Okay, we need a couple minutes to get the phones straightened out so we can get